Okay, even though I didn't need a reminder of this specific notion, um, I was watching a video about how the world throws away the unemployed. So I kind of wanted to temporarily compare notes between my own experiences and those of, say, somebody else who was clearly suffering due to how he was treated in the midst of a very transient phase of unemployment, which only lasted for about 5 or 6 weeks, which is tame for a lot of people nowadays. If you know anything about how much skilled, sober, and healthy people are struggling to get certain jobs for which they're very qualified, you will understand that 5 or 6 weeks of unemployment is it's nothing really to shed tears about in this day and age. Um, but I won't get into that topic right now. When I was unemployed, I noticed that there was an internal tension I experienced between a temptation to resign myself before the state of being like a drifter who just was kind of languid and self pitying forever. And there was another kind of impulse I had to mature into something that was fiercely helpful to people, whether or not I could ever become financially successful. So the former impulse kept me in depressive loops, and I still was emotionally available to the people who were supporting me, and I was avoiding smoking and drinking, and I wasn't going out and you know succumbing to the temptation to take a bunch of library books and then drink a bunch of coffee and read them all and then not return them on time or something. So I was a good kid, but what I hadn't understood consciously when I was unemployed was the extent to which different kinds of weakening ideas seized hold of my consciousness without my noticing them having seeped into my mind. So there's a long article I'm going to recommend to you if you're an unemployed man and you are under the age of maybe 40 or 35, okay? This article might piss you off a lot. It might make you angry. You might think it comes from a place of gratuitous judgment and even hostility. But if you're anything like me, you're somebody who recognizes that there's something sacred within your being or your soul that wants to become autonomous, agentic, excellent, impressive, even if you struggle with health problems that might disable you when you don't want to be derailed, okay? So this is an article written by Freddie. It's available on his Substack blog, and it's called Prologue to an Anti-Therapeutic Anti-Affirmation Movement. So to offer a brief TLDR or distillation of what this article illustrates, it's basically a sort of older millennial's perspective on, say, the virtues of kind of an old school attitude toward being maybe tough and cool and responsible for oneself, and the sort of vices involved in what Freddie perceives to be contemporary mental health pitfalls, which involve various kinds of self-emasculation and self-excusing from what people in prior generations regarded as basic responsibilities for a human being or, a healthy adult, and especially for a lifelong biological male, I think. So, once again, this article is not intended to necessarily alter your worldview or the way in which you live your life or something. But if you are upset that people are mistreating you, especially when they're older, and they haven't dealt with the kinds of experiences and circumstances that you have, It might help you to read something like this because it can make you incredibly lucid about maybe the full picture of what some of these older, financially successful men see as the virtues of their generation in comparison to the vices of maybe the Gen Z crowd and maybe younger millennials as well. I'm undecided as to whether this kind of article needs to be liberally discussed by the general public in the United States. I actually think that within specific communities like the Asian American community, we need to be having discussions about mental health that were largely spearheaded by millennials that had to deviate from doing what was best for, say, the image of their families. But, there are other maybe social groups in which this kind of article will be ultimately rejuvenating, even if initially it strikes you as a kind of painful, scathing, bitter medicine at best. So yeah, read this with caution. If you're in a state of depression and intense self-judgment, don't look this up. But if you are feeling bold and courageous and, you can stomach a completely unsparing perspective of maybe the shortcomings of self-emasculating approaches to perceiving the world through like a medicalizing lens, then please look up this article. It may save your life. Dare I say it. Okay. Thank you for watching and have a good day. And God bless you. And stay sharp and sober.